grows among countries as AstraZeneca goes out of stock. Gambia CDS and Entourage begin second leg of nationwide tour in Kanilai. And Africa is witnessing a third wave of the global health crisis. These and more coming on the news desk. Hello and welcome to the news desk with me, Juldanya Suare. Now the news in detail. Countries have started to raise concerns over the delay in supply of the COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine amid compromised immunity as the interval between the first and second dose extends. Many countries across the region have run out of AstraZeneca shots and said they don't have any new deliveries confirmed at the time. Desise tells us more.
The shortage of COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine has created uncertainty for people hoping to book an appointment for a second dose. It is still unclear if those who received the first dose of the vaccine could take the second dose of a different vaccine. However, as many are worried that the delay in taking their second dose could cause them some harm. Research showed that the antibody levels increase after a delayed second dose. According to the Oxford University news release, a longer delay between the first and second dose may be beneficial, as it results in an increase in antibody and also enhanced immune response. Professor Andrew Pollard, lead investigator of the Oxford University trial of the vaccine, said there is an excellent response to a second jab, even after a 10-month delay from the first one. Some countries are considering administering a third dose, but research has also shown that the third dose is tolerated and significantly boosts the immune response. Other countries might be stalled at the first shots of their coronavirus vaccinations because nearly all deliveries through the global program intended to help them are blocked in vaccine supply. Research out of the UK appeared to suggest that the second vaccine could be different than the first one, and studies are still looking at whether or not people can mix vaccines. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Desise.
AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine went out of stock. Now, in their quest to make Nigeria a drug-free nation, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency intercepted over 90 billion naira worth of illicit drugs in the last 5 months and has arrested over 2,000 traffickers, including 5 drug bronze, controlling different cartels across Nigeria. On the commemoration marking the World Drug Day, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the war against drug, initiated by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Details in this report.
Matthew Nyap is a fashion designer who struggled with drug abuse for many years. He was only 15 years old when he got involved in substance misuse, resulting in drug dependence. Matthew is happy he overcame his problems after undergoing rehabilitation with a non-governmental organization. But he says he regrets losing a blossoming music career he had.
I lost my career. I lost the music at line, music that I was using drugs for. I lost the career over there. Then I lost my integrity. I think without those things, I was having a youth foundation. Then I lost everything. All my businesses. I could have been great.
While Matthew managed to put drugs behind him, many in the country are still battling drug abuse. The United Nations says over 14% of Nigerians aged between 15 and 64 abuse drugs. An NGO offering help to people battling drug abuse in Nigeria says there are many different causes.
Chaotic home environment, where people have dysfunctional family systems. This can really serve as a strong predisposition. You also have people using to cope with life's challenges. So a lot of people are on the low income, earn very little, and to cope with the stresses of life, and also even enhance their ability to work to make ends meet. They get to use certain substances. Other people just use as a result of curiosity and experimentally.
But the experts say overcoming drug abuse is possible if victims seek help.
I stand testament to the fact that it's possible. I do what I do from a very personal perspective because I have been a drug user, actively abusing drugs for about 13 years of my life. I have been sober for 7 years. So yes, I want to give hope to that person out there and say it is possible to get help, if you need help. But first of all, we are seekers our secrets. We have to find a safe space, where you can talk about everything.
The Institute for Security Studies says the number of drug users in Africa is expected to increase by nearly 150% by 2050. It's a worrying projection for a country like Nigeria with Africa's largest population. But the government says it is working towards a drug abuse-free nation. In the past 3 months alone, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it has arrested about 2,000 drug traffickers in the country and seized over 2 million kilograms of assorted illicit drugs within the period. With such actions and support for drug abusers, campaigners hope there will be more success stories like Matthew's.
From that report in Nigeria, we come back home because Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Yakuba Drame, began the second leg of his nationwide tour to military deployments across the country today in Kanilai. The tour to military deployments will enable the High Command to get first-hand information about the troops' well-being in their various installments. Our reporter, Mariama Cham, who is still with the CDS and entourage, is on the line to give us details of the second leg of the tour. Mariama Cham, what is happening right now in the second leg of the CDS tour?
Thank you very much, Julinga Suarez. Today starts the second phase of the tour in the West Coast region, where he's assembled force at the Union Barracks, then headed to the Kanilai 4 Infantry Battalion, where he first meets the elders, followed by a Quranic recitation. And then during the course of his meeting with the Kanilai 4 Infantry Battalion, Timothy Sarang, that is the commanding officer of the 4 Infantry Battalion, thank the city and also delegates for making it light to pay a visit to see their living conditions and also their ideas as men and women in Gambia and for. Taking turn to speak also is Brigadier General Gomez, the commander of the Gambia National Army. The welfare of the soldiers is the priority of the that is Lieutenant General. So the Army Command encourages the military to strengthen the relationship between them and the civilians, that they should as this is what the commander of the Gambia, that is Brigadier General Usman. So seriously, when he was addressing the soldiers, says reiterate also the civil-military relationship. He says soldiers as saviors to civilians. We all know how the Gambia, both the and also civilians live together. It is the only difference is that they work they do as men in uniform of the Gambia Armed Forces. So the city has also touched on tribal sentiments and also political activities as a no-go area to soldiers of the armed forces. So this is what happened today, in Infantry 4 Battalion or in Kanilai.
So which other places will the CDS and his men visit after Kanilai?
Okay, as we are right now, we're in Kanilai. From here, the CDS will visit the Senegalese continent along the road, and we all know they're in Kanilai anyway. They're based there. Then the entourage about not where meet groups as the discussion will continue on the same issues he touched during his meeting with other troops, including talk on discipline, their welfare, the way forward for the armed forces, and that will end the first day of the second phase of the tour in Zimbabwe.
That was Mariama Cham giving us live updates on the CDS tour. Thank you so much. Now with that, we move on to another issue, because as Africa experienced its third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, Zimbabwe received 500,000 doses of China's Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine will be dispatched to the COVID-19 hotspots across the country. The government hopes that the government hopes to vaccinate at least 10 million of the country's 14 million people by the end of the year, but has struggled to obtain the jabs because the producers refocus their manufacturing to cater for local needs. We have more of that in this report.
The fresh consignment will shore up dwindling stocks, which had led to some people being turned away from vaccination centres that had run out or where second doses have been getting priority. The jabs will provide much-needed protection against a renewed rise in infections, hospital admissions and deaths as a third wave of the pandemic gains momentum. Localized hard lockdowns have been imposed in 12 hard-hit areas across 3 provinces. The doses received today will be immediately dispatched to those COVID-19 hotspots, as well as densely populated and high-risk areas, including border posts, the tobacco sales floors, as well as grain delivery depots and food and vegetable market stalls. While vaccination remains voluntary, some groups may soon be compelled to get their shots.
And we are going to say, if you really want to be selling at your marketplace or to be where you are, you need to be vaccinated. We definitely need to see that you have your certificate. For you to continue doing that business, we do not want any Zimbabwean to be a risk to another Zimbabwean.
Additional vaccines have been procured and are expected in the coming weeks.
We've received 500,000 today. By end of next week, we'll receive another 2 million vaccines from Sinovac. 2 weeks after that, we want to bring in another 1.5 million vaccines from Sinopharm. And want to carry on so that by end of August, we bring in another 3.5 million vaccines again from China.
By June 25th, more than 1.2 million people had received at least one of their jabs. The country plans to inoculate about 10 million people to achieve herd immunity.
That report from Zimbabwe will take us to our first break. Still to come, it's more local and international news, so stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put in to constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the news desk on iAfrica TV, and I am Julde Njai Suare. Now to the rest of our stories. The program coordinator of GAM House of Fashion said they will be donating a percentage of what is made out of their most anticipated Tobaski Fashion Night to various hospitals. The event, slated for 9 July 2021 at Penchami Hall, will bring together members of the Gambia House of Fashion and Association of Tailors and Designers, who will be exhibiting their finest arts and designs to the public. Fatoumata Kasim tells us more.
Every build-up before Tobaski, Gam House of Fashion organizes a fashion night to showcase new and creative materials as well as styles that will be available for the festive season. But this year's event is different as organizers intend to return a portion of the money back to the society. Pamodu Sar, the program coordinator of the association, said a percentage of the money made from the event will be used to support maternity wards of different hospitals in the country.
Yes, we know that maternal mortality has been a problem in this country for quite a while now, and we feel that it is definitely incumbent upon us to also be able to support that aspect of of our people. Because remember, many a times, just let me connect this dot. When a woman actually delivers, there is a christening ceremony. And most of those times, they will have to come to us as tailors, as designers, to be able to have their clothes, to be able to go and have their ceremonies with their friends, family, and loved ones. Now, if an instance that we are able to support, based on the monies that we have we've been collecting from them as well, based on our creative designs, it is important for us also to plow back, to support them so they can be healthy with their kids, and then be able to still come to us. Because if somebody has a problem out there, definitely getting to us. And that is the secret behind the whole thing. And we definitely want to make sure that we support people at all costs when it comes to this. We're going to expand this depending on the number, or let's say the amount of resources that is going to be available to us.
In the past, Gambians will go to neighboring countries to do their designs. But to Amar Sar, this is as a result of the significant role media played in those countries. The CEO of Amad's Creation also called on the Gambian media to beam their lights on the designers so as to expose their talents to the world.
We created this fashion night for the people engaged in fashion, especially the youth, to showcase their talent. This is not for competition, but to showcase our talent for Gambians to know what Gambian can also do. The event is scheduled for 9th of July, and everything has to do with fashion will be displayed on that night. Our Gambian people are fond of going to neighboring countries to do their design, and when we have people who can do that for them, or even better than what they look for in other countries, but all of this is because the way their people promote them through the help of the media.
To the CEO of MNJ's Creation, Morangiran, the problem facing the country is lack of confidence in their people, saying Gambians favor foreign products than locally made ones. For the designer, this has to stop, even though the number have gone down, but they want to stop it completely.
Because the problem is moi, man gis na ko da ngay ñawlo Sénégal ba sonu bo ñun ñokay défer. Just to answer you.
The problem we face as Gambians is that we lack confidence in our people. Most of the time, when we do our design, people ask us if our designs are not from the Gambia. In most cases, when they go to Senegal, they do their design. We will end up fixing it for them before they will able to use it.
Tala Willan, the CEO of Ideal Mode, one of the sponsors of the event, called on potential sponsors to come on board to support these young designers who are trying to make way in the fashion world. Tala said even though he is part of the association, he has decided to sponsor the event because he believes in the talents of his colleagues.
Program bi ñi wax Tabaski Night Fashion.
Well, we are all into this together as young designers, being part of the association and at the same time sponsoring the event. This just shows the belief and confidence I have in this association and the people we have in the association.
The night is characterized by model on the runway as per designers as well as entertainment by various Gambian musicians. The association urged the public to come out in their numbers to support the program, as what is made from it will be given back to the society. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
Gam House of Fashion to donate a percentage of what is made out of their most anticipated Tobaski Fashion Night to various hospitals. And from that, we move on to another issue because the coronavirus global pandemic has spiked again across Africa with highly contagious Delta variant spreading to more countries. At least 20 African countries are affected by the third wave, according to the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Experts warn that the third wave is likely to be more devastating than the previous ones because the continent is lagging behind in the global vaccination drive. Details in this report.
The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is worried. It says it has reasons to believe that the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic is seriously affecting more than 20 member states.
We are in the middle of a third wave. At least 20 countries are now fully and in the middle of their third wave across the continent, and it is very devastating. One thing we see is that the peak of the third wave is remarkably higher than the peak of when we had the second wave.
What is known as the third wave has shockingly stretched the health infrastructures of African states, with huge hospital bed shortages being reported. John Kengasong says the third wave is also worsening due to the Delta variant.
Within 6 weeks, that variant in DRC became a very, very predominant variant. And with that analysis is going on across several member states to understand what the situation is. And maybe, and just maybe, the variant in question is the Delta variant is perhaps playing a very significant role.
Africa still is banking on the prospects of vaccinating its citizens to permanently defeat the COVID-19 pandemic. But that plan is in jeopardy as the continent only vaccinated 1.1% of its population so far. The good news is Africa CDC is expecting hundreds of millions of doses of vaccines and has finished preparations to produce jobs within the continent.
Well, that's it for the news text. For more of these and others, join us in our subsequent news bulletin. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company, and do have a nice day. Bye-bye.